Topic is it starts with the arrays. So we'll start with the arrays topic. Is all of you able to see the PPT?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No. So I will start with the arrays topic. Okay. So we know that array is nothing but a continuous set of the elements. Okay. So that is also same type of elements. Okay. Whenever we want to combine the same type of elements, the more than one element. Okay. Then we can go for the arrays. Okay. So we can define the array as it's a collection of elements of same data type and are stored in the continuous memory locations. Okay. So this we can give it as a definition. Okay. So same type of elements, whenever the elements are stored in the continuous memory locations, then that is called as an array. Okay. Next. So within this, we'll go through the what is mean by the array and what are the different types of arrays and what are the different operations of the arrays. And as a one of the operation, there is a merging of arrays and array of pointers. This we cannot consider for today. For arrays topic lo cover cheyam. Okay, because we need to know the pointers also. So that we'll discuss this within the pointers concept. Okay. So these all will cover in this third unit. Okay, third unit concepts ke ee topics anni cover cheddam. Okay. So first we will go for the what is meant by an array. Okay. So first, whenever we are going to discuss the array, okay, first we need to know that what is meant by the array it is, okay, how it stores the elements and what is the use of the actually the array. Okay. The first thing is we know that what is the necessity of the arrays. Okay. So already in the CP language we have the different data types. Okay, like int data type, character data type, float data type, okay, double data type, like these all we have the different data types in the CP, okay, C language. Okay. So but these all data types are called as the built-in data types are standard data types. Okay. But whenever a data type is used, whenever these data types are used and we have declared a variable, okay, then this variable is allotted with the only one memory location. Okay, this is allotted with the only one memory location, so that within a one memory location we can store the only one value. Okay, for any of these data types. Okay, so whenever you declare a variable, it creates a only one memory location, that is one value related memory. Okay, one value related memory is allotted for the variable, so within that it stores the our value. Okay, it stores the value in that memory location. So if it is a character, it allocates a 1 byte. If it is an integer, it allocates a 2 bytes. If it is a double, it allocates a 8 bytes. If it is a float, 4 bytes. That is one value related memory is only allotted for the variable, so that at a time we can store the only one value into that memory location. Okay. But whenever we require the multiple elements, okay, multiple values of same data type, okay, that is we don't have the same necessity for all the time. Okay. So say for example, today I'm working with the only one number. Okay, say for example, assume that I have only one subject max, so then I can create the one variable and I can store in the that value. Say next day, if I got the 5 subjects marks, okay, I want to store all these 5 subjects marks into different variables. Okay, then what we can do is we can create that 5 different variables, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so okay, one student have 5 subjects marks, so I am storing the A, B, C, D, E. Say if the case is like say I have 50 students, okay, I want to store all these 50 students marks. Okay, all these 50 students say 5 subjects marks, each student of 5 subjects marks. Okay, then I require the 50 into 5. Okay, 250 variables are required. Okay, it's not actually the problem, but whenever you take the 250 variables, okay, you need to write the different names to the 250 variables, and you need to different individually you need to access the 250 variables, and individually you need to do the any modifications or any working of that variables individually you need to do, and you need to remember all the names of the 250 variables. Okay. This manual work is more within the this whenever we are taking a more number of variables. Okay, it is a 5 or 6 or 10 variables, it's okay, we can work and we can manage with that. But if it is exceeds that limit, okay, more than the 10 variables like 20, 30 or 40, 50, okay, then it's not possible to remember those, and it's not it will be very difficult to access that variables. So to solve this type of problems, okay, an user defined data type is introduced as the called with the name is array. Okay, the general meaning of the array is whenever you are placing the same objects in a one particular line, okay, then we generally call that as an array. Okay. So normally within our real life also, say for example you are placing a same type of boxes, or one set of 10 boxes if you are placed in a one particular place. Okay, then we will say that there are the array of boxes. Okay, that is you have placed in a continuous set of boxes. Okay. The same word is used within our computer languages, okay, to specify the continuous list of the elements. Okay. So here in this, the array is for storing of the continuous data. Okay. So irrespective of creating a 250 variables to store the 50 values, 50 students marks of 5 subjects. So actually you require the 250 variables. So irrespective of creating a 250 variables, we can create only one variable, say for example x, and which can refer to the 250 memory locations, which can refer to the 250 memory locations. Okay. So not only the 250, you can use the same name, that is single name for the 5 values or 5 locations, or you can use for the 10 locations, or you can use for the 100 or 1000 locations. Okay. They should whenever you give the particular size, or whenever you are specifying your requirement, okay, then it has to refer to that many number of locations using a single name. Okay. This is the concept actually is in the thought for creating of arrays. That is, there should be only one name for a group of memory locations. Okay. In our real life, the general example for this is, say for example, if you have a if you went to a library, then you can observe that for each and every rack, they will be put the some heading like physics related books, chemistry books, maths books, or you'll be have computers books. Okay, so whenever you go to particular rack, okay, you'll be see the first the name of the rack. Okay, so that if it is required for you, if you want a physics books, you'll be go to the physics rack, and there you can select your required book. That is, you can pick your required book. Okay. Okay, this will be easy, and it takes a very less time to pick the book by going to particular array and particular rack and picking of a book. Okay, but if it is a situation like uh, the books are not placed in a particular racks, and they are not labeled also, and they are randomly placed at the different places within the library. Okay, then it takes a more than 1 hour time to pick the particular book. Okay. Because you don't know that where the book it is, and you don't know that where actually the book may be available within that total library. Okay, so that you need to search the complete library and you need to pick the book. Okay, without that, if it is organized and if it is placed in a particular rack and it is labeled with the name of subject, okay, then you can easily go to that particular rack and you can select your required book. So it takes a very less time. Okay. But here occupying of a space is same. Even you are placed the books in the random or you are placed in the organized way, but it takes the same space. Okay, it doesn't reduces the space, but it takes the same space, but it reduces the time to pick the book. And also at the same time, it maintains the clarity of the library. And whenever you want to access any particular value, say for example, if you want to say to the any particular person or a student about the any particular book, you can just inform them, go to the particular physics rack and pick the your required book. Or you can say the position of that also. Okay, whenever you go to the physics rack, okay, you select the third book, okay, in the rack. Okay, that is without specifying a name of the book. Okay, you can directly say that the position of the book. Okay, so that it takes a very less time to go and pick the book. Okay, so అంటే rack name mention చేస్తున్నారు, index mention చేస్తున్నారు, the position mention చేస్తున్నారు, so that it's very easy to take the particular book. Okay, so as the same way, in the concept of the same thing, the arrays is also introduced. Okay. Why I am saying these all is, whenever you are going to explain about the arrays, it's better is to take the real time examples. Okay, so that your explanation becomes a more clear, and it will make a one impression to the examiner. Okay. సో అంటే మీరు ఎగ్జాంపుల్గా ఒక రియల్ టైమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తే సో ఓకే మీకు ఇంకా ఈజీగా అర్థమవుతుంది, ప్లస్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ టైంలో కూడా ఎగ్జామినర్కి కూడా కన్వీనియంట్గా ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, యు నో ఆల్ ద థింగ్స్ అనేది. ఓకే, సో ద అరే కెన్ ఆల్సో బీ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఏ లీనియర్ డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్. ఓకే, linear is nothing but whatever the things which are placed one after the other, like in the horizontal way or in the vertical way, whenever you are placing the one more than one item one after the other, okay, that can be called as linear. Okay, that is called as linear. Data is, you are using the arrays to store the data, so that data. And structure is, okay, structure is whenever we call the structure is like whenever you are grouping the multiple values in a particular way, then that is called as a structure. Whenever you are grouping the multiple values in a particular way, that is in a particular manner, okay, then that is called as a structure. So array is also a structure. Okay, it's not actually the structure which we discussed in the last. So ఆ స్ట్రక్చర్ కాదమ్మా, ఇక్కడ స్ట్రక్చర్ అనే జనరల్ వర్డ్. ఓకే, సో స్ట్రక్చర్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ప్లేసింగ్ ద పర్టికులర్ సెట్ ఆఫ్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఇన్ ఏ పర్టికులర్ మేనర్ ఆర్ ఇన్ ఏ పర్టికులర్ వే. ఓకే, that is called as a structure. So data structure, that is the structure with the combination of data, and this data is also placed in a linear. Okay, why? Because this is placed in the vertical or in the horizontal way. Okay, so the array is called as a linear data structure. Okay, and is a finite collection of elements. That is, we cannot give the infinite elements. Okay, so we have a particular size. So based on that size, we can store the elements. Say if the array is initially fixed for the 10 elements, okay, then we can store the 10 elements. If it is fixed for the 100, we can store the 100 elements. Okay, one or two elements we can store more or less. Okay, so we can store the less than that elements, but we cannot store more than that. Okay, one or two elements we can exceed, not more than that. And these are stored in the successive memory locations and consecutive memory locations. Okay, these are two synonyms, successive and consecutive, both are same. So either we can store the elements in the successive or consecutive memory locations. Okay, so that only we can access the element based on the position. Okay, not based on the name of the value. Okay, so whenever you are placing the elements into the array, okay, will be placed like first location one value, second location another value, third location, fourth location. So whenever you want to get a particular value, you can specify the position. Say go to the first position and take the value, first value, and go to the second position, go to the second value. Okay, with these two elements, we will have only one increment. That is, say for example, this is the 100 location, and this will be at the 102, and this will be third element will be at the 104, fourth element will be at the 106. So by incrementing plus 1, by doing a plus 1 increment, you can reach to the next location. Okay, from that you can reach to the next, from that you can reach to the next, and from that you can reach to the next, just by incrementing 1. Okay. So the array can be created for any data type. Case it may be int or character, double, float, long. For any type of a data type, we can create an array, and we can create for the other user defined data types also. Okay. Like you can create array of pointers, you can create array of structures, and you can create array of unions, enums. Okay. For all that, we can use the array. So whenever you want to combine any data type values, any data type multiple values, then you can go for the arrays. Okay. In our advanced languages, we can also create the array of functions also. So we can store the multiple function objects into an array, and we can use the array of functions. Okay. Array of objects. Okay, the number of number of applications are there for the arrays. Okay. Next we will move on to the next slide. Okay. So the each and every array element is accessed by using an index of the array. This is also called as a position. Okay. Position of the element in the array. So without this, we are not able to access any value within the array. Okay, it's not possible to access any value. Accessing is nothing but storing the value or retrieving the value from the array. Okay, that is not possible without the index in the arrays. Okay, so why? Because the name of the array is only the reference name, but it doesn't point out to the any element. Okay, this is only a reference name, that is just like a heading. Okay, say for example, you have a document of matter and you are putting a heading for the document. Okay, then that is nothing but the heading is only the which refers to the your matter, or which specifies that okay what your matter it is, but it doesn't refers to the any value or any content in your document. Okay. సో హెడ్డింగ్ని బట్టి మనం డాక్యుమెంట్లో ఉన్న ఏ కంటెంట్ని కూడా మనం తీసుకోలేము. So only we can see the heading and we can understand what it is actually. Okay. So based on the array name also, you can know that okay, this is an array. Okay, this is a name of the reference name of the array. Okay. So whenever you want to get the element, get the value, you require the index. Okay. So say if there are the number of elements. For each element, there is a one value is assigned, is a unique value is assigned. Okay, that value starts from 0 and ends to the size minus 1. And ends to the size minus 1. Okay. So, I will be start with the index as 0 to refer to access to the first element. Okay, if you want to use a second value, then you have 1. Then if it is a third value, you have 2, fourth value, you have 3. Like that, you can increment the index up to the size minus 1. Okay. And we don't have any index as of a negative value. So always the index value must be integer value, and it is also a positive integer value. Okay. And is enclosed within the square brackets. Okay. And next, this starts from the 0 and ends to the 1 less than the size of array, or we can call it as size minus 1. Size minus 1. Okay. So why? Because the array size specifies the count of elements, that is the number of elements. Say if you are created a of 10, okay, that is nothing but you can store the 10 values in the array. Okay, not up to the 10th index. Okay, you can store the total number of values in the array is 10 values. You can store maximum of 10 values. So whenever you are starting an index from the 0, Okay, 0 to 9 it becomes a 10 values. Okay, so whenever you come to the index of a 9, it's a 10th value. Okay, count of a values is 10th, so that we will stop the index to the 9. Okay, so if it is a array of n size, then you have the 0 element, 1 element, and up to n minus 1. Okay, and within this, the starting index is called as the lower bound, and ending index is called as the upper bound or higher bound. Okay, okay, it's convenient to call as upper bound, not as a higher bound. Lower bound of the arrays is always 0. Upper bound of the arrays is always size minus 1. Okay, so lower bound is 0, upper bound is size minus 1. Okay, so within this we have known the 3 points. One is index, is the position of the element, and it's always positive integer, and it is enclosed within the square brackets. And the index starts from 0, ends to the size minus 1. Okay, lower bound of the array is called as a 0. So starting index is the lower bound, which is a 0, and ending index is the higher bound or upper bound, okay, which is the size minus 1. Next we will see the what are the types of arrays. Okay, so in all the times we don't get the only one particular array of a data. Okay, sometimes we require the one row or one column of a data. Sometimes we need the one row or one column of data. Okay, because if you are taking one student data or one particular item data, okay, then you can have the one row or one column. Say for example, if it is a supermarket, you are storing the items the prices. Okay, say if you have the one category of item prices, you can store into the one row or one column. Okay, say there may be the situation like you want to store the multiple categories of items prices. Okay, multiple categories of item prices, then you have to use the a table type of information. A table type of storage is required, where the first row contains a one category, and second row contains another category, and third row contains another category of values. Okay, so for this type of things, we can go for the two-dimensional. Okay, table type information is two-dimensional, and there may be the another situations where we need to do the more than the two-dimensional. Okay, which is called as the multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, this is also used in some cases, but for our concept of the CP, we are using up to the two-dimensional arrays only. So multi-dimensional arrays are generally used within our advanced programmings, okay, advanced applications. There we will use the multi-dimensional. Okay, multi-dimensional can be represented like this. Say for example, we can be treated as, say this table of information is related to the one section of the students. Say assume that this is a C section student marks. C section students marks. Okay, as in the same way, I require for B section and A section also. Okay, all that I want to store into a one single array. One single array. I want to store the B section data, and also I want to store the A section data. All should combine and store into a one array. The array name is, say for example, IT. Okay, so IT first year, like the first IT. Okay, this the array name is, say, first IT. Within that I want to store the three tables. Okay, one is a C section, another one is a B, and another one is a A. Then it can be formed like this. Okay, it can be formed like this. This is the one frame. Okay, this is the one section data. This is the B section data. That is, just assume that you are placing these planes one after the other. So the back side of a one plane, you are placing another plane. Okay, So then it becomes like this. This is for the B section, and this is for the C section, and this is for the A section. So one plane of a data is, okay, this complete, okay, this one, this one, this one, these all are the C section data. Okay, these all are the C section data. And this, say, second one is the, this is the B section data. Okay, this is all is the B section data, and this is all for the C section, sorry, A section data. This is all for A section data. Okay. So like this we can store the multiple sections data, and we can form as a one table, okay, which is called as the first IT. Okay. So this is a three-dimensional data structure. Okay. As the same way, we can go for the four-dimensional, five-dimensional data structures also. Okay. So where is a need of like first IT is this one. Okay, say if I want to store the second IT, third IT, fourth IT also. That is, then I require the multiple cubes. So one cube is for first IT, another cube is for second IT, another cube is for third IT, another cube is for final year IT. Okay. So which forms as a single array. Okay, ఇలా మనం మల్టిపుల్ క్యూబ్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసిన వాటన్నిటికీ కలిపి ఒకటే నేమ్ యూజ్ చేసి we can store that as a single array. We can combine all these to form as a one single array. Okay. Can you guess the sizes of these arrays? This is a one-dimensional array, 1D, and this is a two-dimensional array, 2D, and this is a three-dimensional array, and this is the four-dimensional array. So like this we can increase the dimensions and we can store the elements. In the one-dimensional we have either one row or one column size. Okay. Say for example, if this is the one-dimensional array, its size is 6. For this two-dimensional we have rows and columns. So 4 into 4, 16 size. 4 into 4, 16 elements. And for this three-dimensional we have the one 4 into 4, 3 into 4. Each plane is of 3 into 4. Okay, how many planes like this? There are the three planes. Okay, so one plane size is 3 into 4. Like that we have the three planes. So 3 into 3 into 4. Okay, three cubes, that is, sorry, three arrays, three two-dimensional arrays of size 3 into 4. Okay, this is the three-dimensional. Can you guess to specify the four-dimensional array?
4 into 3 into 3 into 3 into 4.
4 into 3 into 3 into 4. Okay, good. Okay, because there are the four cubes. Okay, there are the four cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 cubes. Okay, each cube is of a three planes.
Yeah.
Each cube has the three planes, and each plane has 3 into 4 values. That is two-dimensional 3 into 4 values. So we have a four-dimensional is like this. Okay, like this we can create the n dimensions of the arrays. There is no limit in the any language. We can create the n dimensional of arrays. Okay, so we can create a one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and more than two-dimensional is multi-dimensional, where we can go for 3D, 4D, and 5D or n-dimensional. Okay. Next. Okay. So next we will start with one-dimensional arrays. We'll see how to use with the one-dimensional and how can we store the elements in a one-dimensional array. So one-dimensional arrays, there is only one dimension for the array. Okay, either it can have the row size, that is horizontal array, or it can have column size where it is a vertical array. Okay, so for the, if you have a horizontal array, okay, then you have the sizes are like row size is more than one, that is horizontal array is one row and multiple columns. n columns. If it is a column array with a vertical orientation, then it can have n rows, 1 column. Okay, n rows, 1 column, like this. You have a multiple rows, but there is only 1 column. In the horizontal row array, like this, you have multiple columns but only 1 row. Okay. These two type of arrays are called as the one dimensional arrays. 1 row, multiple columns, or multiple rows in 1 column. Okay. Okay, this is called as a one dimensional array. Okay. So in a single row or in a single column, it throws the elements in a single row or single column. So to declare that this one dimensional array, linear array, okay, so we require the declaration syntax is like this. First we will give the data type, because for any type of a variable, the declaration is starts with the data type, then variable name. Okay. But in the arrays, same as normal, we have the data type first, then this is the variable name. As the same way, we can also call it as array name, because we are creating the arrays. So this variable name is called as the array name. Okay, so it's a variable name, but it is called as array name. Okay. And next, without any spaces, we need to give the square brackets and size. Okay, this size refers to the number of values. That is the number of values we can store into an array. Okay. So that is referred by the specified by size. So what is the advantage of here declaring the array variable and specifying the size is, okay, to allocate the memory space for the variable. Okay, to allocate the memory space for the variable, okay, based on the required size specified for the array. Okay, why? Because whenever you start the program compilation and execution, okay, our operating system and execution unit, okay, it will reserve that much of a space for your array. For each and every program, some space is allotted. Okay, so whenever you run the program, our operating system by default it gives us some memory space for the our program. Okay, that is decided based on the variables declared in your program. Okay, if you are declared the 4 variables, then your program is allotted with a 4 variable size. That is whatever the number of spaces for that 4 variables, that much of a space is allotted for your program. Until unless your program is in the execution, that space is used by only your program only. Okay. Once your program execution is complete, so automatically the memory space is taken by the our operating system. Okay. So for that purpose, okay, arrays is if it is declared with this particular size, okay, then our operating system allocates that much of a space related to the size to our array. Okay, in the starting of the program itself, it allocates that much of a size, so that we can store the elements into that memory space. Until unless our program will not complete, it doesn't uses that space for any other programs in our system. Okay. It doesn't be used by any other programs in our system. Okay, even you may run the 10 different applications in your system, but that space is not used for the any other programs or any other applications. Okay, that is only reserved for our variables. Okay. Next, and whenever you want to initialize the arrays, okay, so can anybody say what is meant by the initial?
Assigning a value to the particular variable.
Okay. Giving a value to a variable. When we can call the initialization, that is actually we can declare a variable and we can give the value at any place in the program. It is a equals to 10. Can we call this as the initialization? Can we
Yes,
call
ma'am.
this a equals to 10 as the initialization? Okay. Especially in case of arrays. whenever you are assigning the values to the array at the time of declaring the array, that is in the declaration of the array itself, whenever you are assigning the values, then that is only called as initialization. That is only called as initialization for the arrays. Okay, because whenever the memory is allocated for the arrays, in the same memory locations it stores that values also. Okay, that is whenever your memory is allocated for the variable, okay, at the same time it stores that values. And there is also one more benefit in the arrays by initialization is we need not to specify the size whenever we are initializing the array. Okay, this specifying of a size is optional. Okay, you can give or we can leave it without specifying the array size. Okay, why? Because based on the number of elements only our operating system occupies the memory space. Okay, even here you are given the size as the 8, but here you are giving the values as the 5. Then your memory space for the array allotted is the 5 values memory space. Okay, it doesn't take the 8 size. Okay, it takes a 5 size, 5 value size, and that is allotted for the array. Okay, so because whenever you initialize the values, at the same time it considers the size of the array as the based on the count of values. Okay, so that generally we leave it optional. Okay, okay, just we give like this: int a, 2 blank brackets, and equals to the required number of elements. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Then this array is created with the 3 elements. Okay, memory is also allocated for only 3 values. Okay, say in the initialization if you are giving a 10 values, then memory is allocated for 10 values. Okay, so this is called as the initialization of the arrays. Only in the initialization we can give the values directly to the array. Only in the initialization we can give the directly the values to the array. That is, at a time we can give all the values to the array. But after creating the array, in the middle of the program we cannot do like this. In the middle of the program we cannot do like this. We cannot assign a set of values to an array name in the middle of the program. We can do this only in the declaration, so that is called as the initialization. Okay, we can't assign the multiple values in the middle of the program. So for this we require to use the for loops, then only we can assign the values. For loop usually when you can give the scanf and you can assign the values. Okay, next is memory representation for the one-dimensional array. Okay, say assume that this is your array, and this array has some elements. Okay, and the name of our array is given as say A. Okay, so the memory representation is nothing but we need to know that how the indexes are allotted and how the memory locations are allotted for the each and every value within the array. Okay, so the first value is known as the A of 0 value, because the 0 is the index for the first value, and second value is known as A of 1 because its index is 1. Third is the A of 2, and fourth is the A of 3, and fifth is the A of 4, and sixth is the A of 5. So these are the indexes of the elements stored within the array. The elements are 2, 4, 6, 7, 5, 8. Okay. This indexes and array name is for the convenience of us. For the convenience of users, it provides us the indexes and array name. Okay. But actually whenever you are seeing in the memory, okay, it doesn't has any indexes. It doesn't places any values like 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, because the memory locations has only the number is address. Okay, So for each and every location we have the address. Okay. So the first element address is 100, 102, 104, 106, 108, 110. Okay, first element address is 100, second is 102, third is 104, fourth is 106, fifth is 108, sixth is 110. Okay. So whenever you are specifying the A of 0, okay, how it will be work out for the A of 0 to take the 100 is, okay, A of 0 will be used like A plus 0. A plus 0. A is nothing but the first element address of the array. Okay, whenever you use the only A, then it refers to the first element address. That is, it will substitute the first element address of the array. Wherever you are using only A, okay, it substitutes the first element address of the array. So the first element address is 100 plus 0. Okay, so the result is 100. So it takes the value from the 100th location. It takes the value from 100 location. Okay, whenever you are giving like in the printf, say percentage d A of 0. Okay, now it adds a 100 plus 0. 100 plus 0 chesi 100 location vastundi. So from that it takes a value. As in the same way for A of 1, A plus 1. A is the 100 plus 1 is next integer location. That is next integer value. That is one more integer address is to be added. That is 1 into size of int. Okay. So one more integer value size is to be added. So integer size is 2. So 100 plus 2, 102. So 102 address location value is retrieved. A of 2 is A plus 2 into 2, 4. A plus 4. A of 3 is A plus 3 into 2, 6. So this index is especially for, this notation is for user friendly, okay, to understand by us. Okay, it's easy to understand us. Okay, but actually internally these indexes are considered as the considered to get the memory locations. Okay, so these internally will get the memory locations for these indexes. Okay. So manaki whenever you are specifying A of 0, in the background our CP language will convert it. Okay, A is nothing but 100, 0 is nothing but 0. So A plus 0. అది అలా assume చేసుకొని ఆ వాల్యూని మనకు రిట్రైవ్ చేయడం కానీ స్టోర్ చేయడం కానీ చేస్తుంది. Okay. But we need not to specify like that. We can use A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, A of 4. But our CP language compiler, it converts it. Okay. Okay. It makes it more convenient to work with the arrays and to know to perform the different operations with the arrays. Okay, so that without giving an address, that is without using the address, okay, we are using the index and we are able to access the array values. Okay, say for example, if this notation is not provided, then we need to use the address and we need to increment the address and we need to go for the one by one elements. Okay, but our language is providing us the easiest way and easiest representation to work with the arrays. Okay, you need not to remember the addresses. You can remember only the position. Based on the position, you can go to that particular value and you can retrieve or you can store. Okay. Okay, that first address is called as the base address. Okay, the first element address is called as the base address. That is the starting address of the arrays. Okay. So generally, whenever you want to calculate the size of your array, then you can be use the base address plus k minus lower bound. K is the number of elements. Say for example, if it is a 10, 10 minus 0, lower bound is 0. So 10 minus 0, W of 10. Okay. That is the size of the related to the data type. It takes the size for the 10 elements. Okay. Base address plus the size. Okay. So up to that we have the elements. Okay. Okay, it can be like this. 100 plus 2 of 3 minus 0. Say for example, I want to find out the location of the third element. I can use as 3 minus 0. 2 is the size of the one integer value. The size of one integer value is 2. And I want to find out the third location, that is third value address in the array. So 3 minus 0, the lower bound is 0. So 3 minus 0. 100 plus 2 into 3 is 6. So 106. So the third value is nothing but the fourth value of the array is at 106. Okay. Like this we can calculate the address of a value in an array. Okay. Okay, once we'll go to the one small example of the one-dimensional arrays. Okay, then we can go for the two-dimensional arrays. We'll see some examples on the one-dimensional arrays. Okay, first we will see how to read and write the one-dimensional. Initialize okay. This is for the example program is for create, initialize and display an array. Okay, by default we need to include the file. So hash include stdio.h. Now we'll see start the main program, void main. Next. So we'll declare the variable. We want to create an array and initialize the array. We need to create the array and also we need to initialize the array. So first for creating the array, specify the data type and a. Say the program is given to initialize also. So I don't want to give the size. In the curly brackets, we can give the values. Now we have to display the array. Okay, this first statement is for create and initialize. Now we have to display the array. So printf, give a message. Array values are now we have to display the array. So use a for loop and display the array. So here I will declare a one more variable I. So to repeat through the for loop, we are using this I variable. So start the for loop and start the I value from the 0 because array index is starts with a 0 and I less than size minus 1. So size is 5 elements. So 5 minus 1, 4 varaku ravali. So less than 5 is repeats the loop up to the 4. Or you can give it as less than or equals to 4. Okay, this is also valid or you can use it as less than or equals to. Next semicolon. I plus plus. That is to increment the I variable to the next iteration. Okay. Here we need to display the values. So printf, the values are of type integer, so %d. This will give the some space to display the elements with the space. We are using as an index. Okay, I is used as an index. Okay, so that is nothing but whenever the I value is 0, then it takes the A of 0. So it takes the A of 0 value from the array and it displays it. Whenever the I increments to 1, then A of 1 value. Okay. And whenever the I increments to 3 and it is I of 3, whenever it increments to 4, then I of 4. So like this it gets a one by one elements to display. Okay. So this is our basic program of the arrays. Save the file. Now we can execute the program. Array values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. These are the different values in the array. So understand how to create and initialize and display the array.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll see how to read the array and display the array. Okay, I will copy this program, create a new file, write a program to create, read and display the array. So we need not to initialize the array, delete, specify your required size, say for example 5. Now I want to take the elements from the keyboard. And look for I equals to 0, I less than or equals to 4, I plus plus. Here you can %d, ampersand A of. So A of I is whenever the I is 0, A of 0 location. So it takes the A of 0 location. So and to take the address of that ampersand. So A plus I and A base address ki plus I and if it is a 0, A plus 0. So base address ki 0 add avutundi. And whenever it gets a one number, that is address value వస్తుంది. So address value ni address ga treat chesi a particular location ki value transfer cheyadaniki ampersand use avutundi. Okay. It just treats that number as an address and it stores the value in that location. So for that it's an ampersand. Okay. Save the file. Array 2. Run the program. Enter the 5 values. Now it shows all that 5 values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we have given the values from the keyboard and we displayed the values. Okay. If the values are fixed values and those cannot be changed, then you can initialize the array. But whenever you want to take the updated values for every time whenever the program is executed, okay, then you can take it as through the keyboard. using a scanf you can read the values and you can display the values. Okay, okay, this is to create, read and display an array. Okay, so for today we will stop the class to here. Sorry, already 10. Okay, if you have any doubts in this topic and whatever the topic I have covered up to now, okay, once revise it. Me already ఉన్న CP notes లో ఈ టాపిక్ వరకు రివైజ్ చేయండి and also see the old question papers questions, okay, whoever are covered in this one dimensional arrays. If you are able to answer that question, then you got the topic. Okay, otherwise once again revise it. Then also if you are not able to understand it, then once remember in the next class, then we will discuss that question. Okay, now you can leave from the class.